Malcolm, I need to get your reaction at that moment that they cut your mic. What message were you trying to continue to get across?
You know, Jonathan, we've talked about the states as laboratories of democracies, but now states are the absolute battlefield of our democracy, and you laid it out completely correctly in your open. This bill, SB 106, you know, I've called it a crap sandwich. We've talked about what it would mean in terms of putting Pennsylvania on a path to effectively ban abortion in the Commonwealth, where currently abortion still remains safe and legal. But they also have in that same bill, Jonathan, stringent voter ID. They want to allow the Republican Auditor General to audit elections. And the Auditor General said he doesn't even know if the last election was free and fair. And so this is going to be the person they want to put in charge of auditing elections. This is what the Republicans have been doing consistently. They understand that Governor Wolf will veto their anti-abortion legislation. And I think a lot of them are worried that Josh Shapiro is going to beat Insurrection Doug, who's the Republican nominee. And so what they have done is try to move this process through the constitutional amendment process, which the governor cannot veto. And so for everybody who cares about abortion rights, we have to do something that I don't think we're always focused on doing, and that is putting our energy, our money, our time, our activism into state house elections. Republicans have controlled Harrisburg for 30 years. And if they win in November, they will put this bill back on the floor in January, and abortion as we know it in Pennsylvania will most likely be gone.
And Malcolm, one more question to you on this. Yeah, they'll put it back. They'll have to vote on it again. And then if it passes, then it goes on the ballot for the people to decide in November 2023?
It can be, and here's the challenge with this. Once they approve it a second time, the speaker can put it on the ballot whenever he wants. And what they have done consistently with these ballot questions is put them on the ballot during low turnout elections. We saw them do it to try to stop the governor from his COVID mitigation efforts. They put it on the ballot during a low turnout, primary election. And as you know, municipal elections, which we'll have in May of 23, are usually low turnout affairs. And so they're going to make the gamble that if they lose the governor's mansion, that they can try to go around our future governor, Josh Shapiro, and put this on the ballot when they think people won't turn out and won't pay attention. This is not the first time Republicans have turned off my mic. They do it every time I have something to say, but all of us have to continue to speak out, to stand up, and to focus our energy on state legislatures. I mean, I'm yelling it at the top of my lungs because this is where so many of our basic freedoms are going to be decided and defended.
Well, anytime they cut off your mic, Representative Kenyatta, you know you can come here to have your voice heard. Robin Marty, let me bring you in here because there are a lot of practical considerations that folks never thought they would have to even consider in when we were living under Roe. And so I just want to tick through some and have you explain why this is a big deal. There's a profile of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer about how she had been planning for this situation for months now. And there was one line in there that jumped out at me, and that was when she said she told her daughters to immediately delete their period tracking apps from their phones. Why was that? Why is that a necessary thing to do?
So, first of all, thank you for having me on. And it's really an honor to be on with Representative Kenyatta, because I think he really brings into focus, both how much states matter, but also how much Republican and especially white Republican legislatures will silence the Black voice. We had the exact same thing happen here in 2019 when our total abortion ban passed, where the few handful of Black legislators that we have, who are all Democrats, and in fact, all but one of our Democrats are Black. They were silenced. They ended up doing a sit-in singing "We Shall Overcome" during the vote because nobody would listen to them. When it comes to period trackers, I know a lot of people look at that as a big thing that should be removed in order to make sure that nobody is seeing a person's medical privacy, is seeing when they could potentially become pregnant. I feel that in general, it's kind of a symbolic thing to get rid of your period tracker. There are period trackers that do not store information and that can be kept completely on a phone. Yuki is an app that does that. So there are ways that you can continue to monitor your own fertility. What we are more worried about as activists are the idea of, are people being careful in their Google searches? Are they using private browsers? Are they making sure not to text people if they have a pregnancy and they're not sure how they feel about it? Because those are the things that consistently have been used on people who either have tried to end their own pregnancies, but also who have just had miscarriages. Those have been seized and used as proof that they were ambivalent about their pregnancy, and hence they must have tried to do their own abortion.
You know, I want to tell the prompter to scroll up to question 5, because this is a very long question. I want, Robin, here's one of the latest clever yet risky ways around abortion access. In a Washington Post article by Christopher Rowland, he details how an abortion advocacy website called Plan C has tested the use of commercial mail forwarding services as a bridge between abortion-friendly states and banned states by sending garbanzo beans in the mail, mimicking how the process would be sending abortion pills. The president's executive order ensures mobile clinics near the borders of states. But if that is still out of reach for people, is this really an option that needs to be considered at this point?
So we do know that forwarding options are a thing that can work. We also know that that will put maybe not the person who is going to receive the medication, but that can put, if they have somebody that they know personally in a legal state forwarded over, that could put that person in some sort of legal jeopardy. A lot of states are, especially Alabama right now, has essentially a personhood amendment in our constitutional amendment that says that the state has the right to do anything necessary in order to support unborn life. And so if there was somebody who mail forwarded into an illegal state, that person could be charged maybe not for helping with abortion, but over mail fraud or prescription fraud. The reality is that in a post-Roe America, especially in very red states like Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, we have district attorneys, we have officers, we have sheriffs, we have the attorney general who is searching for a way to punish people. And they say that they are not going to punish the person who is having the abortion, but the reality is that this discretion is going to be used and a crime is going to be found because it is vitally important for them to find a way to isolate any person who is trying to terminate their own pregnancy. They know that people are always going to seek a way to end their own pregnancy, and so the only way to not arrest that person and still stop them is to put every person who might possibly help them in fear.
The next thing that I found fascinating, because I never thought of this, it was a story, I believe it's on the front page of the New York Times, about IVF treatments and the legal quandaries now facing people who are looking into IVF, and the notion that, you know, eggs and embryos being stored in various states, depending on where your eggs are stored, that could determine whether you are at some kind of legal risk of being in violation of a state's anti-abortion laws?
The reality is that we just aren't quite sure what any of this means yet. In Alabama itself, our abortion ban explicitly says that you can still do in vitro fertilization. However, that goes against the Amendment 2 ban that I talked about before that says that the state has the right to protect fetal life at any moment after conception. So our problem right now is that we don't know how these two go together. And what it is being set up as is the idea that essentially it lets the government pick and choose which things do they want to say. Is this person going to be in trouble for doing IVF? Maybe. Is this person? Maybe not. And this is a completely unjust way to pass laws.